Oh, hello, and welcome to Dente, Rigamortis. I'm Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey, the E stands for evil.
And tonight we have a guest.
The Visionary.
Yes. You may also notice a little bit of a, kind of more of a booming sound coming from our recording. It's because we're shooting in the Visionary's loft. And we're here to discuss those internet stories, most creepy and most pasta, and be critically silly doing it. However, today we are not doing a creepypasta per se, we are doing an urban legend. One that has scared both me and the Visionary. We're doing 8 feet tall, or Hachishakusama, or Hachishakusama. Anybody who speaks
still out on that one.
Yeah, anybody who's Japanese, would you kindly just leave a comment on how much we butchered that?
Yeah, be brutal.
Yeah. It's only
tough.
fair.
We're tough. We're big boys. We can take it.
So, 8 feet tall is an urban legend that came out in August 26, 2008. Started circulating around Japanese internet and chat lines like 2chan. And I guess we'll just go into a rundown of the urban legend itself. So this kid, presumably a boy, but it could be a girl,
There's reasons for the presumption. We'll get into it
yes. They are... in the English version, or the Americanized version that we all experienced, they are from America and they go to Japan because they have relatives there. But in the original Japanese,
later. It never
they
actually
are
says
resident.
where they're from.
That's true.
We're making assumptions because we're North American. But
Yeah. Okay. Well, regardless, they go to Japan to go visit relatives, or they go to visit their relatives that are in Japan, specifically their grandparents, and their parents leave them there while they go touring around Japan. While at the grandparents' place, at some point, they're in the backyard, and it is surrounded by this tall 8-foot hedge. And they hear this strange voice on the other side of the hedge that says, "Po, po, po," or "po, po, 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 po," like a bunch of po's. And when they go to investigate, they see there's like a straw hat above and beyond the hedge. Like it's not just sitting on top of the hedge; it's actually beyond it. And they see a face through the hedge, looking in. And this person is a woman that is 8 feet tall. And they think that's kind of weird, but they shrug it off and go inside. And then they tell their grandparents about it.
The
and
woman leaves.
Yeah,
They shrug it off and go inside.
Yes. And then they go to see
Just
tell
so
their
people aren't like, why'd they just shrug off this creepy stranger watching them and go inside?
I mean, why wouldn't you leave? Go inside.
Well, I mean, go inside, but you stated that they shrugged it off.
Okay, fair. Yeah. So yeah, she leaves, and then they go inside. They tell their grandparents about it, and they're not really listening until
Like through the course of conversation.
Yeah.
Like not an urgent tell the grandparents like, oh hey, it came up.
Yeah. Yeah, so they're kind of shrugging off until they say the words that it said, or she said, po, po, po. And that throws the grandparents into like DEFCON 4 mode, where they go and grab a priest from the local town. They come over and they basically make the kid sit in his room with bowls of salt in each corner and a scroll, like a special prayer scroll, in their hand to like pray to, and I believe a Buddha statue as well in the room.
Yeah, a Buddha statue on a box.
Yeah. Oh, and a box, or on a box, and then also a bucket for him to.
Yeah, a bathroom bucket.
Yeah, a bathroom bucket. And he's told not to open the door for anybody until morning. And so he's kind of confused and frightened about all this whole mess. But he does this, and then halfway through the night, he gets tapping on the window, and he hears the words again, po, po, po. But he starts praying and trying to not hear that. And then he gets a knock at the door to his later, a little bit later from that, and it's his grandparents saying, "Oh, you can come out now." And they're like, "No, you said I can't leave till morning." And then this no longer his grandparents; it's the Po again. And then morning finally does happen, and when the priest and the grandparents show up again, they go into the room, and it is I believe the prayer scroll is black,
And
as well as all the salt in the bowls. And they have a black truck outside with a bunch of guys that they're not entirely familiar with, and they basically just hustle them into the truck or into the van and surround him by all these people. His dad and his grandfather are driving in separate cars, one in front and one in the back, and they basically have a little caravan because he's got to get the hell out of Japan. So they're on their drive out to the airport. He's told not just to close his eyes and not respond or not open them for anything. And over the course of the drive, he hears the Po. It sounds like I'm saying the Po. How do I do that?
it's still so much creepier.
Oh, yeah.
Pose.
Yeah. And also repeated tapping, and the people around him say that they can't see this thing, so just keep your eyes closed. And they can they're getting very anxious because they can hear the tapping, but they can't hear any of the words that it's saying, or they can't see it at all. And then at some point they stop because it's passed or it's moved. It's gotten behind them or something. And then they get to the airport. It is explained that all the people that were in the van with him were all blood relatives, and that they were effectively trying to trick the Hachishakusama from being able to trace him in the truck.
Confusion.
Yeah, confusion. Yeah.
It's super effective.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you, Japanese trope.
I won't apologize. I saw my opening and I took it.
That's fair. So he gets on the plane. He's told never to return to Japan, and he never gets to see his grandparents again because this thing will track him down, presumably, if he comes back to the country. And so some years pass. His grandfather passed away. He was not allowed to go to the funeral. Even in the will, it said, "Don't come to the funeral." And he's a lot older now, and he gets a phone call a couple of weeks ago or something like that from the story.
It's months or something.
Yeah, it's fairly recently from his grandmother, who's been diagnosed with cancer, and that she doesn't know how much longer she has to live, and she'd like for him to come back and see her one last time. And he goes on about oh well, I can't. What about the thing? And she's like, oh, it's been 10 years. And she was but Grandma, what about the Hachishakusama? And then there's quiet, and man, my ears just popped as I was doing that. Yeah, so there's quietness. There's a silence over the phone, and then po, 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 and that's where the story kind of ends.
That is exactly where it ends.
Yeah. Presumably, our narrator did not go to Japan, did not fall for the ruse. But
one can hope.
Yeah. So that is the butchered urban legend. Go check it out on. I believe it's scaryforyourkids.com.
Scary for Kids.
Yeah, scaryforkids.com. There are, if you look up 8 Feet Tall, you'll find it all over the place because it.
Put the link in the description.
Of course. Always credit my people. So unfortunately, there's no real as far as I could tell, or as far as I could find, I didn't find a an original poster or the creator of this story, because it seems to be an urban legend, a fairly recent urban legend, as of 2008, and then actually it didn't actually show up in American or English internet channels until 2016. The urban legend So, yeah, I tried looking up some stuff about Po, like what it means. Could not really find anything substantial other than it's police officer in Japan, because it's P-O, obviously. And then could mean sort of a particle word used to express something that turns out differently from what was expected. So I guess like I almost kind of thought like for this story, if that is the case, which I don't really think it is, it's like it's just constantly drat like next time gadget kind of thing. But I don't because it uses it all the time. It just says
like it's used right from the beginning. That would be like admitting failure from the beginning.
Yeah,
like you're gonna get away, but I don't want you to.
Yeah,
and I'm gonna try and stop you, but you're still gonna get away.
Why am I even doing this? Because
I should really give up.
Yeah.
Po. Yeah, it sounds like you're saying it could be more like an O. Like O type thing.
That just sounds dirty. Yeah, so
showing their O face on the first appearance.
Jesus.
Just wrong.
So, do we want to...
I raised them better than this.
Yeah.
I swear I did.
Do you want to explain why we think that 3 Poes is better than the multiple that we get in the story?
Oh man, I thought it was creepier when it didn't have the deep masculine growl to it that they describe in the story.
Yeah, there's
like,
a lot
just
of...
a simply stated, like, triple Po.
Yeah, like, it's not even just... Yeah, a nice calm voice, yeah.
Like an emotionless, steady. It was. I thought that was so much creepier.
Yeah, I remember
much creepier
when you first showed me this, like a couple of years ago, and like that. I could not look like we were in your living room, and I kept looking down the hallway, just expecting to see this 8-foot tall woman just walking down the hallway.
That'd be fucking creepy.
Yeah,
that bitch should have been bent over.
Exactly. Po.
I'm scraping my head on this stucco. You bitches better not get away.
And yeah, like when we first found out about it, it like scared the crap out of us, or it just creeped us.
Oh, it was so creepy,
and like it was a lasting creepiness.
Oh yeah, I didn't lose sleep, but I was definitely creeped like right through to bed.
Yeah,
it was solid. I mean, it's the closest I've been.
Yeah, and you've been looking for like things to creep you out.
Oh man, looking so hard.
I did find some possible relations to yokai that this might be like connected to, or it might have been drawn inspiration from. The Toka Onna, which is a woman who is searching for a man, or trying to attract a man, because in life they could not attract a man to save their lives. And so they became a yokai because of that desire. And whenever they pass,
so now they eat children.
No, this is again like just like by description of the tallness and stuff like that is really the only thing I could find is that it could stretch out and look into brothels and like pure guys getting it on with other
children in brothels.
I know, but it was another link I could find for like tall person. Yeah. Obviously, Slender Man. This is kind of like a Japanese Slender Man.
Slender Woman.
Yeah, exactly. It's Japanese Slender Woman.
That's why Slender Man's so angry. There's an ocean between him and his woman.
If only they'd be more Slender vlogs in Japan.
It's a super creepy love story that's still better than Twilight.
We're not very high bar, man.
Well, I mean, it'd be difficult if it was a limbo.
Yeah, fair. God. I'm trying to... outside of that, the yokai and the Slender Man, obviously, like, Slender Man came out in 2007. This came out in Japanese internet, 2008. So there might have been some inspiration from that, because it was, like, Slender Man was kind of a big craze on the internet as well. My other things I had... Oh, no, and there was actually some... it's actually, because of its popularity, it actually did pop up in some pop culture things, like the game Fatal Frame. In the 5th one, there's an entity that you encounter known simply as the Tall Lady, and it is described as an urban legend. That is like literally her description. Mm-hmm. So, and it fits the bill. It's actually the image of the Tall Lady is used a lot in retellings and repostings of the story. online because it's a tall, ghostly lady with a hat.
I get it. It's a tall woman.
Yeah.
Tall lady.
And yeah, there are some different, like we kind of brought up during the rundown, there are some differences between the Japanese story and the American one, although not by much, just like tweaks. Like in the Japanese one, the narrator is actually a resident of Japan, whereas in the American one that we all listened to and we've all read, it is more that they
Visiting family.
Yeah, visiting family in Japan.
Yeah.
And just can never go back.
Yeah.
So why did we find this scary? Kind of putting this at up for the open table. Why did we find this so creepy?
I think I found it creepy because of the whole how easy it could have been for the kid to have
Been duped?
said nothing and been screwed.
Yeah.
Like how easy would it have been to just shrug it off,
Yeah, just like, that's
not
weird.
even mention
and not
it
tell
to
it.
grandma
Yeah.
and grandpa, right?
And then just
And then, oops, Hachishakusama has just shown up and eaten you.
yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I think that's what I found creepy about it. Because, if I was to run into the 8 foot tall, I don't have anyone to inform me. Like, I would have been in the dark and I'd have been eaten.
Yeah, you don't know a Japanese like a Shinto priest or
Yeah.
Buddhist priest to help you figure that works.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, here's the question: is it landlocked to Japan? Do you think, or is it?
That's
Can
what
it
it kind
come
of
to-
made it sound. I don't know if it's all
I don't know.
Japan. Maybe it's got a radius.
Yeah, I don't know
I mean,
how
maybe they're safe if they go to the extreme north of Japan.
to Hokkaido. That's the Northern Islands.
Well, whatever is extreme north. I'll admit to not being very well versed in Japan. I am a Celtic god.
Yeah, it's like going that far north, or even going on to the mainland China, maybe even be safe. I think you'd probably be safe there because again, there is a large gulf of water, much more than even some of the islands that.
Maybe she's just stopped by water.
Well,
Yeah, it
salt
could be.
water.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
that's using your noodle. It's the old synth processor working.
yeah. And actually, this also kind of brings to mind the movie. What is it called? My favorite movie nowadays. It Follows. There we go. I couldn't.
Oh man, it's my favorite movie. What the hell is
Why
it
can't I
called?
remember it? No, that's what I was like.
That's my department, bud.
It Follows is basically this creepy stalker monster that stalks you, and it only stalks. It tries uses personages of other people that you know or strangers, so that you may not know who's who, to try and get to you, and no one else sees it.
Nice.
No one interacts with you, it is a sexually transmitted killer because you have to get you have to have sex with the previous victim in order for it to pass on to you, and then once it kills you, it goes down the line. It also once it kills you, it goes down the line of all the previous people that it's been stalking. It has a list.
So you pass it on by banging someone, but if that person
Dies,
gets killed by it,
suddenly
it's coming
you're-
back after
yeah,
you. So
suddenly
you gotta
you're-
go bang someone else?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Yeah, they do try that method, but it obviously killed the 3 or 4 guys that she bangs.
Dude, could you imagine if this thing got attached to Barney Stinson?
Oh my god.
I mean, it would never get him.
Wow.
It would never get him.
Yeah, but yeah, they
Barney would end up banging it, and then it would have to kill itself. End of story.
wow.
True story.
Fair. Again, critically silly on the show. But yeah, and the other thing is it always walks. It doesn't move fast. It just moves toward. It moves. It's always at moving toward your direction at a walk.
That is so creepy.
Oh yeah,
No rush.
No.
No rush. Just
and they
take your time.
Yeah, they
Go
drive
ahead.
a couple of hours to a beach, and it shows up the next day.
Yeah. Yeah, no worries. I'll catch up. You gotta stop sometime.
Yeah, it's a. I always wondered if that one, how would it deal with someone traveling across continents, going to another country. or another continent specifically, so that it can avoid the water? Does it go through the water? Like it doesn't seem to have it seems to have no weakness of like going underwater or walk or like does it just walk under the
maybe it's like I mean I haven't seen the movie, so I've got to speculate. With something like that, maybe it's not so much that it's a demon or whatnot, but I kind of saw it as when you were explaining it as like the tether in a fucking terrible video game.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you are so far from your partner, we're teleporting you to them now.
So it just goes, like, teleports to the nearest landmass after you go, like, distance?
Who knows? Maybe it's like bobbing through the air if you're going on a plane.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting yanked and yanked and
Yeah,
yanked.
overbanding.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, maybe that's what happens, but as soon as it gets on land, whatever. It's not in a rush. It's going to take its time. It's going to get you eventually.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just something
else. Now it's getting them.
But yeah, so that's just something I thought of, like, that kind of sounded familiar after reading this.
No, it seems pretty similar.
Yeah. And so yeah, it's really just like that kind of dread of like that he almost like just got snuffed out because he may or may not have told somebody about it. Like it's kind of like that stranger danger kind of thing.
Yeah. I also found that call really creepy. The Poe.
Yes.
Poe.
Well, yeah, like even when you first did it to me, like when you just said it, like I got chills up my spine.
Right.
Like I still kind of occasionally do, but not as much anymore because I think I've oversaturated it. But
it had a diminishing return. I mean,
yeah, it's like a joke. If you say it too many times, it loses its charm.
Well, and it became a joke.
It did kind of. Yeah. Yeah, for the last couple of years, we have been like texting each other, just like Poe.
Ever so randomly.
Yes.
Great.
Yep. Mikey, do you have anything to say about because you really weren't creeped out by this thing, were you?
Not really.
I figured that was the case.
No. But I found it entertaining that the parents actually give a damn.
Yeah, you know what? That's actually something about the story. Like everyone's like kind of in the like suddenly in the know, and like they all completely believe the kid.
Yeah,
which is something you don't see.
That's fair.
Like the only time
though that said, it took all night to gather the family. Maybe there were a number of people that were like,
"It's just a legend, Grandpa.
Mind. I am not getting up at 1 a.m. to drive over to your house so that we can rush this kid out of Japan. It's an urban legend. Pull your finger out of your ass."
Yeah. But apparently, not the case. Then again, yeah, like it is rural Japan. Like the grandparents are from like the countryside, so like a lot like they tend to be a lot more closely knit and a lot more a lot more like family oriented when you're out in the country. At least from my experience of like families that I have, they're out in the country and stuff. They seem to be a little more communal. So like maybe they were like, hence why they gathered as many as they were. That it's actually like we're trusting enough to do this.
Yeah, it could have been a rural community.
Yeah, that kind of mentality at least.
I don't know. I didn't even think about the whole everybody was there because it was kind of explained on the it took all night to get everyone together.
Yeah,
I was like, okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It gives you that margin of error of people that were like, take a hike.
Yeah.
I'm not wasting my time with this. I am going back to bed.
Yeah, for sure. The other thing I wanted to suggest was how to use it in like a future story or even like a game scenario, since it's something we kind of do when we do these kind of creepypastas or urban legends where we use a monster. We have a monster that doesn't really have a creepypasta outside of the base story.
Oh, that'd be kind of neat for a game like, well, at least the games that we kind of play. You'd need to give it some kind of weakness. I mean, you can't, not necessarily a way to kill it,
but a way to
a way to kind of fend it off.
Yeah, like maybe the.
Well, I mean, let's face it. The group that we'd be playing would think of rock salt rounds immediately.
Yeah,
and I mean, salt seems to work because salt. They put the 4 bowls of salt in the corner.
Yeah, it's almost like a purifier.
But it seems to like destroy the salt though. So I would imagine you'd need to fire a lot of rounds at it. it'd probably be pretty ammo heavy, and that would just be to slow the thing down.
Yeah.
Because
I don't think
it doesn't seem like. I mean, if there was a way to kill it, the priest would have done it.
Yeah.
It was. They trapped it in a temple, and then the seal was broken.
Yeah.
Because one of the statues broke.
Yeah, because sorry, that's why it was after or it was out was because it had been imprisoned in the story. But then one of the Jizu statues, these guardian Buddha statues that are on each cardinal direction of the corner of this temple, one of them had broken, so the seal was broken basically.
So it got free.
Yeah. So yeah, I could see, and it seemed like with the salt, I think in Japan it's almost like it's like they're like wards as well, and then they have basically they have a saturation level.
Yeah.
Where once they get saturated enough with corruption or evil, they turn black like they did.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, salt is a symbol of purity, but purity can be corrupted.
Yeah. So it's got to get through that first before.
Yeah. In a gaming scenario, I mean, there's always, the low-hanging fruit right here. One of us sees Hachishakusama and she attaches.
Yeah.
So there's one person that she is trying to kill.
And it's basically...
and the rest of the group is trying to make it so that she doesn't kill them.
Yeah. So it's basically...
you can ignore the child aspect to it and just attach it. I mean, that's the beautiful part about creative license.
Mm-hmm.
We can do whatever the fuck we want.
Yeah, for some reason I keep wanting to do it. I have the idea, kind of like one of us has been marked basically in the game.
Yeah.
But it's in an apartment complex, and I would title it eight floors tall. Just because I'm
crazy tall.
Just because I've been having that fucking that because of that name, I've had that stuck in my head for weeks. I'm just 8 floors tall. Just have this thing in stalking around the apartment. Maybe it can shrink down to 8 feet tall or 8 floors.
My giggle was because you said 8 floors tall, and then my brain went to you thinking about it, her being in my old apartment. I'm like,
holy
8 floors tall crammed in that hallway? That's even better.
Well, it's more of a play on words, but yeah. But yeah, can you imagine? Because again, like apartment complexes, even if we do base it in Japan, and not so much like North America, apartment complexes, as we've seen in J-horror, are scary. Yeah. Especially when the supernatural things are in there.
Hey, dude, there's a lot to be scared of in an apartment.
Yeah.
So, outside of the apartment, so in the apartment, you've got one way out.
Yeah.
Right? You can go out the window, but
if you're 8 floors.
If there's a demon or a ghost or something after you, you don't have the time to make the sheet ladder that you need to go out the window.
Yeah.
There's just not that opportunity.
It's demon or defenestration and death.
Exactly, right? You can hope that maybe the ground is soft enough to not kill you.
Yeah.
But, if that thing can get out of the building, you're screwed anyway.
Yeah. And then even if you get it, even when, outside your building, your apartment complex, if you're actually in the hallways and stuff like that, you have anywhere between 1 to 3 exits out of that building. Maybe 4. If you have a back room and then 2 side things. I'm basing off your old apartment. But.
Yeah, that's where I'm thinking too, because a lot of apartment complexes are kind of the same, and normally it's one hallway with all the apartments on each floor. Some of the bigger ones you might have a jag somewhere or something.
Yeah, or there might be a main lobby with only a back exit and a fire exit and a main entrance.
But normally it's fire code that kind of dictates that it's that one hallway, because they're all supposed to have outside access.
Yeah.
So you can't have an H that has inner apartments, because they'd be blocked.
Yeah. Basically.
Because you got to have that alternate route, which would be in an emergency would be a sheet ladder off the balcony or something.
Yeah. Or the stairwell.
Well, the stairwell is your first exit, right? That's out of your apartment building. But that's in a creepy monster situation. That's still creepy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You got one way. You see this thing
coming in from one side.
You and the elevator. Honestly, in a monster situation, you never take the elevator.
No.
That thing will show up in the elevator.
Or
even if you're alone.
You open it.
Or, the door is open, and there it is, and
you're dead. You're basically
you're dead. You're dead.
Yeah.
But, it's going to show up between you and the exit you're going to, and there's a very good chance that when you turn around, it's there, too.
Yeah.
That's how apartment horror works.
Exactly. It's claustrophobia.
Exactly. It's that fear of being closed in. Even if you do a stairwell, there's no saying that it's not able to find you on the next floor.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly. You go to the next floor, it's right. Oh god, can you imagine? Like, so, like, all the doors are supposed to be like usually locked or something like that, or like closed off, except for emergencies. You're running down those stairs, and then as you hit the next floor, you start hearing tapping. Before you get to the platform, you hear tapping at the window of the door, like to the next hallway.
Yeah,
and it's already there. Or like, I was thinking, like, as you were talking about this like a second ago, I started thinking of us like how we used to be like in the one in your man cave, in your den, like playing video games and watching these things.
Yeah,
and. Could you imagine just being in there and like suddenly the power goes out and then we just start hearing tapping on your window outside and it's like, again, 8 feet tall?
Yeah.
Or 8 floors?
6 floors up.
Yeah, 6 floors up or 8 floors up. Like, you just start hearing tapping. It's like, why is there tapping? Right, that is what creeps
the tree there was nowhere near my window.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
There's no tapping.
Exactly. Well, I think that's the other thing with why it creeps me out is like, like, all the wrongness of it. It's like Slender Man. Like, there's an unknown, creepy, very uncanny variable to it.
Now, that said, in my house, I have enough weapons that I'm going down swinging.
Yes. You may die.
I'm not saying I'm not going down.
But you will go down
But I'm going down swinging.
Yes. And hopefully make it to Valhalla.
Hey, if you go down swinging, you go to Valhalla.
and then she's there too. But yeah, I think like honestly that's really the way to go for like a game scenario.
Oh, yeah.
And like
the other apartments are closed off to you.
Yeah, because like you knock on the door.
Those are people's houses.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah, okay, maybe we could Delta Green it and kick the friggin' door in, but then we've got angry residents on the other side who may or may not be armed and hostile.
Yeah, and you're just trying. And basically, they just become an obstacle or another obstacle for you to get away from the thing that's chasing you.
Yeah.
I think definitely the point is give it like maybe some banes because it does obviously have some banes like that it can't get you.
You just need some kind of way to fend it off because if it's just going to get you, that it takes the fun out of a role play situation.
Yeah,
like you've got to have some kind of
yeah.
There's got to be a win scenario.
Yeah, even if you can't kill the thing.
Yeah,
yeah. Like because there's definitely ways of smarting it. Now, at that point, like, basically the option is get the fuck to the nearest way out of the country. Yeah, because that's basically your only bet of getting away from this thing.
I like that saltwater theory.
Yeah, that
I
works.
really like that.
Yeah, like, and it makes sense for a lot of. It makes it
so much worse if she was, say, in North America. Like,
yep, yeah, because like Japan's a small island, like geographically.
Yeah,
like in North America. There's a lot of land to get to, to get through.
There's a lot of places that you can't go now.
And unlike the thing from It Follows, I don't think 8 feet tall moves at a walking pace. It was like hovering.
She was keeping up with the car.
Yeah, it was keeping up with the car. It was hovering. It was like just like standing there alongside the car, just moving along at the same speed,
tapping on the glass.
Yeah, so like this thing is not like this thing is supernaturally powered.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And yeah, I think in another scenario, like I would probably have one of the players be maybe just like as like kind of an easier in, like have somebody be knowledgeable in it. Like we've talked about it a little bit off recording.
Yeah.
Have you as like a Shinto priest or like a Buddhist, like a priest of some kind that's in the know of what to do, so you at least know how to deal with it.
You know, a layman who's educated.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you don't really need anybody who's like armed or like in any kind of like military or militia thing like that.
No.
It's really you can just be like the everyman or the like a regular Joe who's got this weird fucking supernatural thing after them now. And who knows? Maybe you could even have it like you're not sure why it's going after you specifically until you find out that you almost like when you're in your childhood when you were very young. And you had like either like forgotten about it or something like that. You'd actually been out of Japan and it somehow got its way over here, like to the where you're living now.
That would be interesting.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Yeah, basically have like kind of
a kind of thing like maybe they bridge to the mainland or something.
Yeah,
like something just to cross that gap of salt water. Maybe they put in a channel.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like England has to France. Like something that makes it so that water is not an obstacle anymore.
Yeah, like maybe like
and you can just walk across.
Yeah, because I think I'm pretty sure there's like tons of islands, like smaller islands in Japan. So you could even have it like maybe it wasn't even on like mainland Japan. Maybe it was like on one of the islands, and it was stuck there because you can just fuck off. They can't. But then suddenly they decide like the infrastructures decide to fucking build a bridge to link the island to the mainland, and suddenly this thing can just walk.
Well, I mean, this thing's just an urban legend. Who cares about that? It's not going to hold up progress.
Well, again, and that's a big thing in Japanese horror is like again disturbing temples like that. Like there's a silly but kind of culturally appropriate anime series where a bunch of ghosts got basically released from an imprisoned temple like shrine on a mountainside because they were basically developing that side of the mountain for new like subdivisions and homes, and they basically broke the markers with their construction equipment and set off this huge mob of ghosts to come out. So yeah, basically the same thing, like progress in Japan, or like progress basically against nature kind of stuff. Mikey, do you have anything to add in?
Well, for the gaming stuff, the whole escort quest is really the key.
Yeah, that is basically that's basically the story, and that's
And I mean that's the point where I would be saying that we'd need to have weaknesses like rock salt rounds, because what they used was like familial camouflage. Brings back to why we assumed it was a boy, because they filled the vehicles with male family figures.
Yes.
So if it was to confuse Hachishakusama, then one could assume that the child is a male, because otherwise they would have filled the car with females.
Yeah.
You'd think if it was to confuse with the familial connection.
Yeah.
And they only filled with one gender, you'd assume.
Yeah. One might assume.
Maybe we're dicks to do so, but we're also
2019
human.
going on.
We're also human. So.
Yeah, it's fair.
Except for him.
Yeah, he's a demon / synth. So, wait, and you're an elder god. I'm the only real human here. What else you got?
Well, just thinking more the child angle. If the Poe was more high pitched, because kids can hear the higher frequencies.
Okay, so if it was like almost like dog whistle kind of thing, or like the Lavender Town syndrome thing, where like the reason why kids were supposedly committing suicide or having like weird hallucinations because after playing Pokemon and getting into Lavender Town was because there was a special note in the song that was triggering underdeveloped brains. And like that's what they were. That was the urban legend. That was the creepypasta of the Lavender Town syndrome.
Developing brains, not underdeveloped.
Sorry, I meant underdeveloped, but yeah, developing brains. Yes, yes. Sorry, yes. But yeah, like so, like that's why like adults can't hear it or can't like even conceive of it because the child's mind is still developing.
I think hearing the Poe is entirely linked to the attachment.
Yeah.
I don't think that the tone really matters at all. I think it's due to that psychic attachment. Yeah. Like it marks you, and that it provides a link, right?
This is not a game that we've ever played, but like Monster Hunter Childish Things, or even Little Fears, I could see this basically the Hachis 8 feet tall. The 8 feet tall is basically just a monster that's trying to bond with the kid, but it's because it's some alien like unknown like supernatural thing. It's doing it in a way that we perceive to be bad.
Yeah. Hey, maybe it never heard any of those other kids.
Yeah,
they were never seen again. Maybe
it took them on adventures.
Maybe it was like a super creepy Christopher Robin.
Yeah, or Peter Pan.
Yeah, there we go. I don't know why I said Christopher Robin. I was probably just thinking Winnie the Pooh.
Fair. But yeah, like Peter Pan. Like, actually, I remember hearing somebody say, like, in my headcanon, Peter Pan is just Slender Man. Like, takes a bunch of kids and just takes them to Neverland to never grow up. Like, that could be basically like Hachishakusama. It's just like, it takes them to this other place, but it's not like bad. we don't know what happens to them when they leave. We just presume it's bad because we're so ingrained in J horror, or like because we know because most of the other Japanese horror things or Japanese legends are terrible and creepy.
Yeah.
And now we know what would have happened if the kid had opened the window. There would have just been an 8-foot-tall woman in green tights.
Just
Fly
like,
with me. Third star on the left and straight on until morning.
yeah, exactly. We already know she can fly.
Come fly with me.
Let's fly. I just fucking listened to that song today, too.
I think I heard it today, too. I feel like I heard it during hockey.
Probably.
No. And another thing if it were higher pitch, you could have other animals reacting to it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh, in a gaming scenario, yeah.
Yeah.
So you know where you suddenly know where it is. Like,
Yeah.
And that's the other thing, like...
Yeah,
so
because
if
the adults wouldn't hear it.
Yeah, here's another thing. If,
Or maybe wouldn't hear it until it's closer.
Yeah. What if the adult, like, what if you can't, like, in a gaming thing, like, to kind of amp up a little bit of the horror, you can't see it until it's, like, right there. Because the signal's that close, like, because, again, like, we're playing as, we'd be playing as adult characters. And, like, if we're going on the assumption that this thing doesn't show up except for when children, maybe it takes a while for, like, the person to see it. Because they're adults. So, like, you're hearing dogs freaking out or, like, and that kind of stuff. And then...
Yeah. Give it, like, a fade radius.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking, yeah.
That'd be something neat for doing it in a gaming scenario. Would be like, if it's, within blank feet of you, it'll be, say 75% transparent.
Yeah.
Or, 90% transparent. When it's within this many feet of you, it's 80% transparent. No, now it's 60%. Now it's 40%. Like, it suddenly just becomes more and more real as it gets up to you, except once it's within touch range, oh, there she is and you're dead.
Yeah. Like, I think even it's creepier. So, like, we have the first arc of the story, or the first part of, first phase of the story. We're in the apartment complex, and and this thing's within close range to it, like, trying to get the characters. The characters get out of the lobby, and they see it like start walking off, like walking out into the out of the lobby, like, and your guys are across the road or something like that, and it vanishes because you're far away. Suddenly now you're farther away from each other, and then we reveal that that's its other nature is that because you're an adult, because it was so far away from you now, like you can't perceive it until it gets closer.
Yeah, that'd be neat because you'd get so far away and no longer see it, and then you'd be like, "Oh, okay, we're in the clear."
And then you start, somebody starts seeing.
Meanwhile, it's really just that it's only like 200 feet away. It can still totally see you.
Yeah, and it's walking toward you.
You're only a block away.
Yeah,
it's like, no, cool.
Or you start hearing like on the
take my
wind.
time.
Yeah. He's like, "Oh, thank God!" So, and then the GM would just be like, "Okay, on the wind, you start hearing, oh." Like, it gets louder as it gets closer, and you start seeing things like materialize on it as it gets closer, like the hat.
Yeah.
I think we're going to run this at some point.
You see a rabid chihuahua throwing itself against the glass in a house.
Exactly,
next to
yeah. Or you see, because it
roll a spot check.
Yeah, exactly. Or you see like some kind of taint of it, because again, like it taints the salt. And so you start seeing things die around it, like flowers start dying.
That would be neat, especially if it was like if she was able to get over to say like Canada.
Yeah.
I mean, run it as a winter scenario.
You just start seeing footprints.
The rock salt in the street. Watch the rock salt in the street going black.
Oh, God.
The salt truck goes by and it looks like it's throwing gravel because the salt's all black in the back of the truck.
Oh, God.
Right?
Yeah.
How creepy would that be?
Yes. Yeah, I like that. That is... Yeah, as you just go, it's just going black as it goes by.
Yeah.
That is... Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to have to run this game at some point soon.
And
unfortunately, I don't think you can run it for us.
No, I'll have to run it for some people. I
we know too much.
Yeah.
And one thing is with the following is that you could also fake people out by with the po. It's like, oh, it's just a motor. See
that's what was ruining it. So all the readings that we've listened to of this, they use in the actual writing, it does like give more than 3 pos, And the way they do it, a lot of the times, is just kind of like po 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 po.
Yeah, and
it's just
in
not
all the narrations, they put like a rhythm to it.
Yeah, and it's just not until
Like, it was-
the last
it
one we
was
saw,
almost
where it was
sing-songy.
yeah. It's like not until the last one we listened to, where like by the end, you suddenly heard like in the background that the person who was reading it had added in like basically Poe as like a chant.
Yeah, it was
in
like
the background?
a chant in the background as it was jogging with the
Yeah.
car.
Yeah, I'll have to like
So
put a link to
creepy.
that one in that.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it wasn't the best reading I've ever like heard for.
No, it wasn't.
but-
It wasn't awesome. It was better than some we tried to watch where there was too much
commentary.
commentary.
Yeah.
We were looking for a reading of the story.
Yeah,
It was very difficult for our tasks.
strange for some reason.
Yeah.
Do you have anything else?
And here's guys talking about a story, complaining about people talking about stories.
Yeah.
We're hypocrites, people.
For gaming wise, no.
Anything else about the?
I have an it story.
Of course you do.
You have a head story?
No, it is an it story. So okay, this is a so we're not. I wasn't going to do a grammar inquisition in this episode because it's an urban legend, but Mikey, being the grammar Nazi that we know and love, in quotes.
Are you ripping apart the grammar?
Yes.
Sick. Go on.
Yeah. So and now an it story with Mikey. The E stands for evil
This is basically all the sentences that begin with it.
because he can't stand it in stories when they do that.
Anytime it starts with it,
Yeah.
nice. Nice. I'm going to piss you off with a story. I've got one brewing now. You guys can review it.
Awesome.
You make the calls.
Yes.
It was a hot summer's day, and I lay down on the grass to rest. It sounded almost like somebody was making the noise themselves, as if they were just saying "po, po, po," over and over again in a deep masculine voice. It was a straw hat. It wasn't resting on the hedge, it was behind it. It was a woman. It takes on the appearance of an extremely tall woman, and it makes a sound like po, 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 in a deep male voice. It appears slightly differently depending on who sees it.
Go on.
It all sounded so crazy, I wasn't sure what to believe. It sounded like Grandpa's voice, but somehow it was different. It was 7:30 a.m. It was moving along with the van. It was Hachishakusama. It was all done to try and confuse Hachishakusama. It took a while to contact everyone and to get them all together, so that was why I had to be confined in room all night. It gave me the chills. It was all very sad. It's been 10 years, she said. It's all forgotten.
Yeah. Y'all thought you could escape it this episode, but no.
Psych!
As we're drawing this thing to a close. Shit, there was. Oh yeah, that's something I also wanted to address. You brought it up actually in your it story. Was the male voice that it has? I'm just curious as to like why, like.
I think it's just to lend to the creepiness of it.
Yeah, that's probably it.
I mean, let's face it, there are some women with some very deep masculine voice. I mean, like, the princess in Spaceballs singing deep.
Yeah.
Like,
Or pull
but,
up the.
I mean, it's not a feature that normally goes with a feminine appearance.
Yeah.
So I could see that lending to the creepiness of it. Mm-hmm. But you know what? Maybe she just looks like a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Might just be like not even like not even a male version. Might
Maybe
just be
it's
like
a predatory male demon that like dresses as women to like lure them into a false sense of security.
Yeah.
Like women are less threatening.
Or like motherly figures kind of thing. Especially when since it seems to pick on children mostly.
I don't know. Maybe it's just got a deep voice.
Yeah.
Too many cigarettes. Bad for you. It did say like growly.
Yeah, too. Yeah, it did have growly, deep male voice.
Yeah.
So. I do still think the just like the calm but like slightly lower like version that we kind of always envision, like Poe, Poe, Poe.
Yeah.
Like, that one's a little bit. I feel like is creepier than, at least in terms of all the imitations of like all the people that have read it. So like they always go for like this weird, distorted almost like.
Yeah,
version.
I mean, I honestly I missed the deep masculine part until
we started
a few
listening.
months ago when we started talking about this.
Yeah.
Again, that was the only time I found out about it because I was like, I just thought it was the 3 even pose.
Yeah.
So it threw me off a little bit. I thought it was creepier the way I had thought about it the whole time.
Fair. Is there anything else to say about one of probably our favorite Japanese urban legends? Like it's definitely like at least it stays with me constantly.
I'd like to say it is, and then I'm going to find out that like one that I'm reading is based off something Japanese, and I'm going to have to be like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
But as current knowledge stands, yeah, it's probably at least among my favorites.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely one that like again like ever since you introduced it to me, I've like always had it in the back of my head. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to have to use some of our ideas that we've come up with and like run a game for some people online or something.
Yeah, it's a good creepy story.
Yeah.
I didn't lose sleep, but it delayed it a little bit.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I fell asleep with pose in my head.
It was
creepy.
It was a nice after the loss of your fear from the expressionless.
Oh man, that was heartbreaking.
For anybody who wants to know, the visionary here used to get really creeped out by the creepypasta The Expressionless.
TJ Lee, I love you, bud.
And then me and Mikey, the Sets for Evil, showed him a short film version of The Expressionless for when we were doing our episode of Al Dente for it, and it ruined the scariness factor.
The short film just destroyed it for me. It took away all the creep factor, and yeah.
It's like I felt really bad.
You know what? You tried.
Yeah.
I couldn't fault you for it. You thought you were going to enhance the creep.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it just... I couldn't appreciate the short film.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to discourage artists. Please make your short films. Some of you guys do an excellent job, and I'm sure a lot of people were creeped out by this one. But it took it all away from me. Like I think most of what creeped me out about The Expressionless was my head picture.
Yeah.
And that short film took that away from me. But
yeah. And then we had we're still searching for something.
This is like the next best.
Yeah.
This is like the next best. It's given me a good creep.
Yeah, and we're still searching for like something to truly like make you lose sleep over.
I need to get that high back.
The fear high.
The fear high.
So if you can find something that you think would truly scare, without knowing anything about the visionary, if you think you have
except knowing that The Expressionless scared me, sleepless.
Yeah. So The Expressionless scared him at one point before he watched a short film of it. So if you can know of any kind of creepypasta or urban legend that would be on that tier, let us know in the comments below or on our email, which I'll get to in a second. Since it seems like that's about it for the episode, how would you recommend Hachishakusama?
Recommended.
Okay, so I guess roundtable recommendation.
Definitely.
Sweet. All right.
Definitely.
So that was this week's episode. If you like what you heard, or if you didn't, leave us a comment in the comment section below, where this gets posted, whether it be on Podbean, Facebook, YouTube, or Tumblr. We're on Twitter. At least two of us are. Mikey is at the East Ends for Evil. I'm at Review Cultist. You can also send us emails at aldenterigamortis@gmail.com. That's aldenterigamortis@gmail.com, where you can also leave us suggestions for other creepypastas you'd like us to discuss on the show. Or, like we said, scary stories or creepy stories and creepypastas that you think would scare the pants off of the Visionary. Seriously, he needs that high. That fear high.
Please scare me. Please.
And if you'd like to help support the show...
in shows like a totally wholesome, scary way. Like...
Yes. Not.
Yeah.
What would be an unwholesome, scary way?
Oh, man. We're putting this on the internet.
Okay, that's true. Yeah, that's fair. That's 100% fair. Yeah. Stories, not experiences?
Yeah, exactly. Stories, not experiences.
Yeah. If you'd like to help support the show, you can go to iTunes or any of the streaming platforms you're using for us and rate us and review us. Let us know how we're doing. Tell us we're terrible. Tell us we're okay. Whatever. Like, proof in advertising. Like, help us spread like a virus. If you'd like to help support us financially, go to Patreon.
Curable virus.
Yeah, I'm a medic virus. Just get stuck in your head. If you'd like to help support us financially, go to Patreon. Look up Al Dente Rigamortis on Patreon and select the backer tier you'd like to support us at. We have $2 and $5 tier with special episodes, extra content, early access. To our patrons that are already helping to support the show, thank you immensely. You're helping keep those hosting bills at bay. And as always, that's very much appreciated. And to the listeners of the show and the authors of these stories, thank you guys immensely, because without you guys, we wouldn't really have much of a show. Either your listenership or your authorship. So, thank you. Until next time, I have been your host, Review Cultist.
I'm Mikey. The E stands for evil.
And I'm the guest.
This has been Al Dente Rigamortis. Happy New Year! Sleep well.
Are we in airplane mode?
Yep.
I'm not.
Oh no.
Where did I put my phone? Goddamn Eldritch technology.
Five minutes later.
My phone is now an airplane.
Cool.